Hey, greetings to the body of the people. This is a man called Chris Dorsey, the Virginia Militia. Sorry, just readjusting my my chair. Welcome to the Militia Intelligence Report. As I said before, this is a man called Chris Dorsey. You're listening to us on Blog Talk Radio, watching us on YouTube and Facebook Live, and wherever else anybody's broadcasting this from. Got David Dauterive on the line. Hopefully we'll have Clifford, Eberhardt on the line in just a little bit. So the title of tonight's show is Join or Die, the Movement to Abolish Government and Restore Law. So again, we're going to just keep repeating this line over and over again. Join or die is the movement to lawfully abolish this government. We are the direct descendants of the original individuals who started using the political slogan, join or die. So we're telling everybody, join or die, the movement to abolish this criminal government. So you either join or die, the movement to abolish this criminal government. We'll repeat ourselves again, join or die. Join, that's your first choice, and your second choice is die. So either join or die, the movement to abolish the criminal government. I'm not sure who Michael is, but is that Michael Anthony? Okay, never mind. Sorry, just getting caught up behind all the flashing lights and prompts on Facebook. So again, Facebook led the markets in the United States, the indices on Wall Street down, straight down. We predicted this economic collapse because it never wasn't an economic collapse. There was no recovery for the average person after the collapse of 2008, and December is the worst month on the New York Stock Exchange since October of 2008. So I guess the Santa Claus rally didn't come this year. Santa Claus is not real. If you tell children that Santa Claus is real, I don't know, there's something wrong with you. You're warped, and that's how Americans are so stupid, is because we're taught to believe ridiculous, absurd, counterproductive fantasies from the time we're able to comprehend things. So this episode again is titled Join or Die, the Movement to Abolish Government and Restore Law. So basically what it's called is join or die, and that's what your choices are. Abolish government or die. Join us in abolishing government or die, because the government is engaging in war against you and you will be wiped out. You will have nothing. Your life, I don't know how folks can say that their life is worth living now. There's really nothing much to what you do. If you have any sort of stability in being able to carry out your daily life, then you are morally bankrupt, and you're spending all of your time serving an evil corporation who's engaged in war with you, and you don't really basically have anything but debt, a debt which you spend all of your time cultivating and paying off, and you own nothing, and you're nothing but a slave, and there's nothing good about any endeavor. So I work for a church food bank. So what? The churches and all the nonprofits and the corporations, they all work together. I mean, we don't need this kind of charity, and we're going to get into this about how the United States of America, but actually, even after it was the United States of America, but certainly during the colonies, the antipathy, we'll even say, because everybody says hate. Oh, that's a horrible word. The hatred of the sins of the Catholic Church of Americans. Americans hated the Catholic Church. They hated popery. They despised papists. They forgave them because we all know all those who repudiate the whore of Rome, the Vatican, the Catholic Church. We know that the persons who are manipulated by the Catholic Church are, besides the fact that they have sold their soul to Satan, they're like you and I. If I was owing allegiance and I took oaths and followed orders from the Pope, I don't. But if I did, there would be no difference between me and a Catholic, because once you take orders and once you follow the lead of those disgusting child buggerers like the Pope and his cadre of cardinals, you have sold your soul to the devil, and there's no getting away until you repudiate it. Once you engage in usury and become wealthy in this society, you have sold your soul to the devil, the root of all evil. What's the root of all evil? Is the devil? The devil is the adversary, but the worst of the devil's sins, the worst of all evil, however you want to do it, it's like you can cover semantics on lots of different levels, but clearly usury is the worst thing on the planet, because for the love of money is the root of all evil, and usury is lending money at interest, and that enslaves people. People do all sorts of other things. Walk down, to your local, red light district, drug district. Do you think folks, they really wish to do that? You think they really wish to do that? Go down to your public housing projects and that there are, prostitutes, providing sexual service for whatever the least amount of money for the lowest drug dosages. It was just announced today that there's been double the amount of fentanyl deaths from 2017 from 2016. That's statistics from a year ago. Heroin deaths, right about the same par. Do you think these folks, they wish to live like this? Do you think that they could possibly be heroin addicts if not for the drug companies, if not for the Fast and Furious program, or the CIA and Department of Defense importing drugs from Afghanistan and Mexico and Colombia and Venezuela? Well, I guess it's smuggled through Venezuela, smuggled through Puerto Rico, smuggled through the Dominican Republic, to points everywhere. Do you think? Nate, I love to find out where the smuggling points are. For the Northeast of the United States, a lot of it comes through Montreal. For 2/3 of the country, which is, the Northeast is the most populous, it comes from the southern border. And, they're even bringing it in from ships from across the sea where the heroin has been, the poppy plants have been guarded by the United States military, and then shipped out on shipping containers, on shipping liners, in every single port across the United States. So, whose choice is this? Obviously it's a choice. Don't do drugs. That's stupid. Don't take Ritalin. Don't take Prozac. Don't take aspirin. Don't do heroin. Don't do cocaine. I'm not going to tell anybody not to drink alcohol, but you know, I've had a bit of a cold for a number of days, and I'm smart enough to at this point to know don't drink alcohol because like it does some things, like it does some negative things. Some people say it does positive medical things, but again, it's not that great. But I'm not going to tell anybody don't drink a beer, don't have a you know moderate amount of a wine, don't have a glass of wine. I'm not going to tell you that. I will tell you, don't do cocaine. Don't do heroin. I mean, or do. I can't stop you, but you've been warned. I'll warn you on that. I'm not going to say don't consume cannabis. Why would I do that? Because everybody knows that's a freaking medicine. I'm not going to say don't eat psilocybin mushrooms. I'm not going to say that. But what I am going to do is say this is not anybody's choice. This is not anybody's choice to live like a low-level, no-purpose human being. Animals serve a purpose on the planet. I love animals and have much more respect for an animal than I do a human being. Now, people, that's when people unite themselves, the deity, that's the highest form of life on the planet. But I mean, we're not reaching that point anywhere near what part of the time. I mean, if you guys have been out during this Christmas period, nobody has any. I mean, people are cutting people off in traffic, robbing people. I mean, I've been watching local news here in Richmond. I always pay attention to what goes on in Baltimore. Pretty much you can do it all across the country, but uptick in violent crimes around Christmas time. So nobody cares about Christmas. Nobody believes in any of that nonsense that they try to pump us full of during this time period. We got a 415 caller. We'll get to the 415 caller. I'm unmuting the caller, so well. I'm trying to unmute the caller. Okay, the caller is mute. Yeah, the caller's unmuted. Oh, okay. Hey, Cliff's on the line. Duh. Okay, so excellent. We got Cliff and David. So real quick, let's go through this. The topics for tonight. Join or die, the movement to abolish government and restore the law. Chris Dorsey is joined by David dauterive and Clifford Eberhardt to discuss the most important issues facing humanity. Topics include the implosion of economy/society and how to restore legitimate government through the lawful abolition of the current unconstitutional regime. So, again, the law requires the government be abolished, and the reason that is because the government and the institutions that control the government are engaged in war against the people, which is treason. And that's a capital offense. So everyone in government is guilty of treason. All corporations are guilty of treason. All police are guilty of treason. All lawyers are guilty of treason. Okay, so that's a capital offense. And the inside story on the economic collapse of December 2018. We just told you really all you need to know. It's the worst month on the United States stock market, on the Dow Jones, the S&P and the NASDAQ, the Rusal, etc. Since October of 2008. So right around the last economic, I guess, just complete collapse, which the average people, only those engaged in extreme usury, only the worst among us are benefiting from this economy, which has never recovered. And so there's a higher stratification between the wealthy and the financially poor. So those who are able to positively leverage debt, because all the money's debt, all money is debt, all money is debt. So those who can who have a better ability to leverage debt to carry out their own best interest, they're engaged in war against you. So all millionaires and billionaires must be executed under the law because they are the ones carrying out the most severe war crimes against the American people. The need to shut down the so-called government forever. This way of life that society is engaging in now must be shut down forever. There is nothing good about it. Not one good thing. It needs to be shut down forever. It needs to be destroyed. This usury-based satanic system that is controlled at the top by an organized crime syndicate called the Chabad Lubavitch Organized Crime Mob. It needs to be destroyed forever. The United Nations all-out war on the people. That's what we're talking about. UN Agenda 21. Operating out of New York City. So it's so funny when everybody goes like, oh, the UN is horrible. Okay, that's fine. You know what the worst place in the United States of America is and always shall be? It's New York City. That's the worst place. Now, I've been to New York City. I used to have a good time when I would visit there for work. I would go up, I don't know, 2-3 times a year. It is the worst place on the planet. And it's because that has the most Jews of anywhere on the planet. And so anywhere where there's the biggest concentration of this genetic synagogue of Satan, it's going to be horrible. It's going to be just like, it's going to be the worst place. Like it is. The Federal Reserve Bank and the Bank for International Settlements control demolition of the global economy for the people. They're not destroying the whole economy. I mean, this is what you're seeing with the stock market. That's shorting. They're selling this. The price of gold is going up. They're selling their stocks and they're putting it in gold. Wherever they put their money, that's the next step. It's basically like, it's not basically, it's a game of musical chairs. And it's like the game of musical chairs if the person who controlled the music was also the one playing. They control the stock markets. They control those algorithmic programs to make sure that there's a stock sell-off. They create it. Then it has a carry-on effect to actual people. But the technology which is programmed into these stock market measurement devices, they're programmed in. You'll never win. You will never win. And if you are a winner in this society, the law requires, I should say, the law requires you be put in front of a brick wall in front of a firing squad. Okay. How the owners of the institutions which control government shorted the global economy. No one at this point can refute what we have been saying regarding the Rothschild Jewish Mob controlling all governments, discussing the Chabad Lubavitch Mob pulling strings on DC, London, Moscow, Beijing, New York City, Brussels, Paris, etc. The Jesuit order and their Jewish origin. The Jesuit order is originally a Marano Converso Jewish entity, just founded by Ignatius Loyola. That's an ethnic Jew. Francis Borgia, ethnic Jew. Go on down the line. You guys can do your own research. We've already done it better than anyone else, and we've already said everybody's name. So the American people have always despised the Roman Catholic cult until the Rothschild-controlled Vatican Bank paid for the infestation of America by the Papist menace. If you guys think this is hyperbole, just look at history. You guys don't know anything about history. You're like, wow, what's going on with the Catholic Church? Pope Francis said today, hey, all buggering Catholic priests Turn yourself in. What a joke. What a joke that's been going on since before the so-called Roman Catholic Church was invented. This is an old Roman tradition. And those Europeans who started America, we have been at war with Rome since we came in contact with them. Since we came in contact with the Romans and the Jewish courtiers of the Romans and those conversos within Roman society that destroyed Rome, how Rome fell. They blame it on the on the Germanic tribes and all that. No, wasn't that. Sorry, wasn't that. That's not what it was. It was, again, the Jews destroying it from the inside. The Jews destroying. There weren't Jews in Ireland. There were Jews in England or Scotland or Wales. There were Jews in modern day Switzerland or in France. But in Rome, yeah. Always. And then when you have Jews, you have the Jews who are Jews but pretend that they are not. In other words, this is very confusing because the so-called Jews, they're fake Jews, as is described in the book of Revelations. They're fake Jews, but that's just what we call them. It's an ethnic group. We have the DNA to put it out there. Like for the male, it's J1 and J2 and E1B haplogroups mostly. So we'll keep going and we'll get back to that. If anybody has any questions, this is all you need to know. You don't know more about the details than we do, but this is all you need to know. This is all you need to know. The American people have always despised the Roman Catholic cult until the Rothschild-controlled Vatican Bank paid for the infestation of America by the Papist menace. The latest on Paul Manafort Oleg Deripaska. See, Oleg Deripaska, he's the owner of Rusal, which they say is the second largest aluminum corporation in the world. I think it's the largest, or at least it has been over the past 10 or so years. He's a close associate of Nathaniel Rothschild and Jacob Rothschild, and he is getting out of his sanctions. He's divesting from Rusal, which is basically just playing right into the government of Russia's hand. Why is the U.S. doing everything? Because, obviously we all say since we made the documentary video called The International Banking Cartel, which has been seen by millions, that the Bank for International Settlements is the controller of all the governments of the world. They control all the militaries of the world. They finance all the militaries of the world. And we specifically always say Russia, China, United States, because those are the big ones. When you start talking about what enforces the will of the bank, what enforces folks to go along with this usury system, it's nuclear weapons. And China, Russia, and the United States, they're the ones that have the scariest nuclear arsenal or scariest military arsenal, the deadliest weapons of war. They're all controlled by the same institutions. And here, when we start naming these names like Paul Manafort, Oleg Deripaska, Roger Stone, Felix Sater, Vladimir Putin, Roman Abramovitch, Rusal, Rosatom. So now Vladimir Putin is threatening the United States with nuclear war because of a arms treaty, medium-range arms treaty that goes back to the Reagan and Gorbachev administrations. So back in the late 80s, I believe, when they had this treaty that now, although Donald Trump is doing everything that Vladimir Putin is publicly asking him to do, and we know these guys are puppets. Probably Putin is less of a puppet than Trump, but still an actor and a puppet. So he's doing everything else except for this medium-range treaty, this treaty that now Putin is saying is threatening nuclear war. Okay, so all the Russian population, they have underground escape routes. Do you? I don't. People I know directly, they don't have this escape route. So we'll get into that. All the Russians do. All the Swiss do, and allegedly even the North Koreans. They have underground bunkers for all their people. China is well known for building large underground cities, and they probably won't take all their people down underground in this God forbid instance that this nuclear Armageddon happens. But there's a plan for all Russian government officials and their people, and for all American government officials and corporate leaders and military contractors, etc. And we'll go through this. I mean, it's all covered in the book, the Militia Handbook. We go and talk about the continuity of operations in case of a nuclear war in the underground military bases. So we'll just go through a few. Wait a second. Okay. Let me just say this again. The latest on Paul Manafort, Oleg Deripaska, Roger Stone, Felix Sater, Vladimir Putin, Roman Abramovitch, Rusal, Rosatom, Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, Jared Kushner, Stanley Fisher, and Maria Butina? Why Stanley Fisher, the then vice president of the Federal Reserve Bank, a Jew, and the former head of the Bank of Israel? Why is he meeting with now somebody we're told is a Russian spy named Maria Butina? What's he doing? Simeon Mogilevich, Rob Goldstone. Look into that guy. That guy's a whack job, but it's very entertaining for me. But he's part of large money laundering operations and the MK Ultra and Monarch mind control program with popular culture, etc., etc. He looks like he's a victim of that too. And the rest of the Chabad Lubavitch Mob. Continuity of operations, deep underground cities and bases. Putin threatening nuclear war over treaty, despite overtly controlling Trump on Afghanistan and Syria. And I'm not saying he's, excuse me, that what you're seeing in the media is the truth, but there's an element of the truth about it. Meaning, this is what this guy's asking for. I don't know whether they're all just kind of like, like gaming the system. He's openly asking for, hey, the U.S. needs to get out of Syria. Donald Trump says, U.S. get out of Syria. Vladimir Putin says, U.S. needs to get out of Afghanistan. Donald Trump says, U.S. out of Afghanistan. We'll talk about James Mattis, Mad Dog Mattis, and how he's a criminal, and how they like to split up the criminals, like Robert Mueller versus Donald Trump, or Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump, or Vladimir Putin versus Browder, or whatever, when all these guys are just pure criminals. Or Khashoggi versus the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. They're all criminals. They're all criminals, and don't choose sides. There's no sides to choose except for all government officials, all millionaires and billionaires, all lawyers, all police. They are guilty of treason. So that means, really, you got to stop what you're doing, guys. Or when the law is eventually enforced, you will be executed. You will be executed, because if the law is enforced, all these individuals would be executed. And do you think these guys would resign their post pretty quick if that was the consequence? In other words, join or die / your money or your life, millionaires and billionaires. Your money or your life. Because if you're a millionaire or a billionaire, you're guilty of treason. And the punishment for treason is the death penalty. It's a capital crime. The underground escape route for the government and corporations. Government and corporate leaders, I should say. During a nuclear attack. Fort McNair. Cheyenne Mountain. Mount Weather, Peters Mountain, Raven Rock, etc. All corporate / government officials are guilty of treason. The solution is simple. Join the lawful movement to abolish the government and restore the Constitution or die. It's simple as that. It's simple as that. Hey, we got David Dauterive on the line. We got Clifford Eberhardt on the line. We got lots of folks watching on the Facebook Live. We got lots of folks listening on Blog Talk Radio. We had a busy week with another couple guys, I would say, who are posing as quote-unquote truth tellers, who are obviously not who they say they are, misleaders, government agents, and again, this is not the exception, this is the rule, and I haven't seen the exception to the rule. They're all government agents, and I'm talking about what's that guy's name? Zachary K. Hubbard is a government agent, and they all do the same thing every time. Those of you who watched my interrogation of Zachary K. Hubbard Greenblatt, they know this because basically the guy does all these tricks. He starts off saying like, hey, I don't know why Chris Dorsey has a problem with me. We agree on almost everything. And, well, I just think this guy's crazy. For example, he called for the execution of all restaurant owners. So that obviously is a lie. And when he was confronted on the fact that is a lie, he, I'll use their terminology, doubled down and said, but you did say it. And when you go back and I said, well, okay, you said your last name is Greenblatt. You're acting like that's some sort of lie. You said that, and I said, here's where you said it. Episode 56 of your radio show, whatever that is. You know what it's called, episode 56. Where did I say anything close to that? I obviously did not. And he says, oh, in your debate with Adam Green. Okay, there's 6 hours of that. And when you go back and you listen to all 6 hours, you'll find that it is not there because I would not say anything like that. If I did, which I did not, if I would have, which I did not, it would be completely misspeaking. And if anybody said that, I would repudiate that statement. However, if somebody is a millionaire or a billionaire, yes, they're engaged in usury, they're engaged in war against the people. That is treason. Yes, the law requires them to be executed, but I didn't say what he said. So he starts off with a lie. And then he just goes from there. So my point and my main statement on these internet characters is, how stupid do you have to be? Like, I see these stupid comments everywhere. Well, yeah, this guy worked for a Jewish military-industrial complex while he's making videos about the truth, but, hey, he's an anti-Zionist. Yeah, what was he last week? A freaking, like a promoter of Donald Trump? Oh, well, I just came awake on that point. Oh, but now I'm anti-Zionist. Oh, yeah, I just happen to be a Jew, but so what? No, but I'm not, but I am, and so what if I am, but I'm not? You see, if you buy any of this stuff that these guys say, you have no standing. I don't worry about what the masses say. The masses are pathetic. They are pathetic. Now, it's not all their fault, but that's what they are. They're pathetic. And we have a real problem in this country. And if you guys are following behind a bunch of nonsense, that's it. Zachary K. Hubbard exposed. Chigozi, whatever what's that guy's YouTube channel? Chigozi Truth. Chigozi Truth exposed. Works for Gain Capital Futures. He works for a Jewish-owned Wall Street corporation. So, hey guys, go ahead and attach yourselves. Jump on that Jewish Wall Street Jew pretending not to be a Jew but has like a big Jew face that you have to be a moron to go like, wait, this guy says he's not Jewish? Are you kidding? I know what a Jewish person looks like. Attach yourself to that. Jump on that bandwagon, folks. Go ahead and jump on that bandwagon because it'll take you nowhere. You'll waste your life, and if you're that stupid and like you're watching this information, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and absolutely do it because we don't wish to have you. We don't wish to have you here. This is getting really absurd with the let's see. Yeah, we got some trolls online at this point. So, thanks to the trolls, and I hope that's this person's real name. I want to give a shout out to thanks Michael Dick. Oh, shout out to great strong start. Greetings to JD Davis, Jason Brown. Great to see Jason Brown. Jason Brown has seen this stuff firsthand, and it's really strange to see how some folks react when where you can get and we're back, and of course they do that when we start getting lots of folks watching and commenting. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. I don't know. FDA panel, okay, stronger opioid despite concerns. Yeah, isn't that funny? Okay, so they just announced that there's, double the amount of the amount of deaths on fentanyl is doubling, but they're going to put out stronger opioids. Let's see. Ricardo Valdez. I mean, one man's demon is another man's sociopath. Somebody asking, do you believe demons are real? I mean, I know that the Wake Forest Demon Deacons are really college football, basketball, and baseball team. Now, they rig all the games for gambling purposes and other reasons. So, is it real when they go out and play basketball? How about the DePaul Blue Demons? Demons are real. Yeah, I believe that somebody can call somebody a demon and somebody can call him a psychopath. What's the difference? I mean, it's one way of saying, like, it's two ways of saying the same thing. So that's my answer to that. I believe that we are spiritual beings. I believe that I'm okay with somebody being, identified as a psychopath or a sociopath. Basically, if you can function in this society and you're doing well financially in this society, you're a demon and a psychopath and a sociopath, or you're a demon or a psychopath / sociopath. So yeah, I mean that's my answer to that. Excuse me. Again, trying to get over a cold. It's been hanging on for a while, and it's not that great. I just want to talk to folks because I don't like dealing with this. You see, I'm ready to destroy my enemies, and I am angry at the population of the world that is a willing slave to these degenerates. So, for example, I don't really shop as much as I used to, and it's drastic, the amount of, the lack of buying power with $1. So I went to the grocery store tonight with $20, and that's what I had to shop with, and what I got was, and this is buying clearance items, almost exclusively clearance items, but certain things that I couldn't buy clearance items on, but bought the cheapest, like paper towels and toilet tissue. Okay, so the amount of things that you can buy as far as food and feeding yourself, especially if you do not wish to, and I got a tip for you. When you're ringing out at self-checkout, always, and maybe they've stopped this in certain ways. I can, unless somebody's watching me, ring up organic produce at a non-organic price. Just look it up, and instead of swiping the item as organic, just put it on there. I mean, because it's ridiculous. The shelves are empty, and they're charging $2 for a tiny, stalk of broccoli. $2, and that's not organic. They say it. And also, who's to say the stuff that they say is organic is actually organic? I mean, there's so many variables in this. So many variables. So, basically, you can buy hardly anything at the grocery store for $20. Toilet paper. Scott toilet paper. That's the cheapest at the Kroger that I go to. Kroger brand paper towels. So that's $5 right there. Kroger brand club crackers, broccoli, 2 kiwi fruit, water, a clearance item soup, organic soup, but clearance item. And what else? What else is that? Juice. And there's $20 right there. That's $20. That is $20, folks. This is insane. Yep. Hey, great thoughts on the Trump wall. That is to keep us in. To keep us in, not to keep us out. So now they're still talking about this government shutdown. We say shut it all down. And I'm not feeling any sympathy for any federal employees. We are calling for their execution because they're guilty of treason. And we're not calling for their execution because that's just what we decided. We're calling for their execution because that's what the Constitution for the United States of America says in Article 3, Section 3. Guys, Trump is a puppet and war criminal, guilty of treason, absolutely. Clifford, what are your thoughts so far on what we're discussing starting the show off?
It's been a pretty big week. Between confronting even more government agents and this talk of Trump pulling out of Syria, that seems to be the big news. Is the divide and conquer, red versus blue political dichotomy that the masses are still caught up in. So, this is a good thing that Trump's pulling out of Syria. It's like, yeah, if any of this was not just a movie, then sure, yes, this
right.
has been my favorite part of Trump's character development too. But he's still a criminal. It's all just for show. The minute they pull out of Syria, either they'll have another false flag chemical attack in Syria and have an excuse to go back in, or they'll start escalating things with Iran. So it's like there's a saying that once you play the hand, you gotta already have the second one ready. And our enemies, once they play a hand, they already have the second one ready. And usually, just like with Yemen, where they say, we're getting ready to stop funding the genocide in Yemen, that's because it's already done. That means mission accomplished. That means they've done all they've needed to do.
Right, exactly. So it's the biggest crisis in our time is the genocide in Yemen. And again, all they said was they're going to stop financing it. But here's the thing, that hasn't even gone through yet. And so at what point it's like, yeah, they don't need it anymore. The moment they stop siphoning money from the U.S. taxpayers, that's the moment they don't need that anymore. And how on earth is the United States going to leave Syria when they've got a military base in Syria? Okay, hey, now double check behind me on this, folks, at home, but doesn't the United States have a military base in Syria? I mean, we already know that the United States has not left Iraq because there's a military base in Iraq and that there are still troops. So let's say, let's do a little Google search for U.S. military base in Syria. And let's see what we get. Let's see what we get. U.S. to withdraw troops from military base in Syrian city. U.S. draws list. Okay. U.S. troops to withdraw from Syrian base near Iraq. Okay. Syrian base near Iraq. Okay. So are all the troops going to be gone? Because, you know, okay, what is the name of the U.S. Army base in Syria? What is the name of the U.S. Army base in Damascus?
They're approximately, this is according to that DARPANet gatekeeping site, Wikipedia, but they're approximately 1,500 to 2,000 U.S. Special Operations Forces in Syria spread across 12 different facilities being used as training bases for Kurdish rebels. So if there's not, it's tantamount to having U.S. military bases there. They're bases that the U.S. government is financing to train Kurdish rebels in Syria.
Okay, so let's get into this Kurdish. Yeah, go ahead, David.
I mean, Chris, remember I was telling you about that series on Netflix, the fighting season. Now, again, the first episode starts out as these task force army soldiers are helping train the Afghan national police, and what they're doing is they are required to wear plain clothes, to wear plain civilian clothes. So again, the military, it may operate all over the world in every single country and have all these bases or outposts, whatever you want to call it, but they're able to go under the radar because they don't wear any kind of insignia or any kind of, they're not obligated to actually show that they work for the United States military. I mean, just like you finding out military intelligence officers are working inside Occupy Wall Street with people who were well known. You said before you even who you knew before.
Yeah, Bill Nelson. Yeah, particularly the police liaison of Occupy Richmond. Some man named some dude named Bill Nelson. Bill Nelson, Army Intelligence, then didn't infiltrate, was placed in Occupy Richmond. We know their names. They check out. Let's get back to that guy, Jason Brown. He knows all that stuff, and they kept their mouths shut. You see, that's how these guys operate. That's how they can get away with all this stuff. You know, these guys see all these government officials inside these movements, and then they clam up. Yeah, I mean, threats, like crazy threats you get from these guys. Like crazy threats. Not talking about making up stories about getting approached on the street by some guy with masks. That's happened. And David, can anybody dispute? Can anybody in their right mind dispute us getting attacked and then also threatened within the same hour in Washington D.C. by some dude with a crazy skull mask on? I mean, give me a break. These guys, it's a joke. Again, join or die. We're gonna get into what join or die means, where that came from, why it's so important, and we're not going to back off. You see, I was listening to there's so much misinformation out there, and I was listening to the radio, just like FM radio, and then there was like this Bible broadcasting network, and it's just like, I mean, all the music sucks, and I'm just like looking for something, and I couldn't take any more of NPR, which is what I normally listen to, and they used to have classical music at night, but now they have just like 24 hours of news. And I'm switching around to this something, I think it's called like the Bible Satellite Network or something like that. And I hear that they're like going like, oh, Don Marquis is Illuminati survivor. Now he's a born again Christian, and you're gonna hear what all the secrets of Freemasonry and the Illuminati are. And it's just so much misinformation out there about what is going on and how to solve the problems and this and that. And then those folks, folks out there will go like, well, the King James Version of the Bible, which these guys are saying, that's Masonic. Oh, so it's the Masonic people fighting the non-Masonic people. I've not been initiated in the what they call Freemason, and they can't call it Scottish Rite because Scottish Rite comes from this thing that is much more esoteric than some ritual-based religious group. Because Masonry is a religion. Let me repeat that. Masonry is not just a limited hangout, like we titled one of the shows, Masonry is a limited hangout. Masonry is a religion. Like if somebody can't say, oh, I'm a Baptist and I'm a Mason. I'm Catholic and I'm a Mason. I'm Jewish and I'm a Mason. No. You can only be, well, if you're Jewish, you can be Jewish and a Mason because, it's based mostly in I don't know, Old Testament tradition, but we're talking about religion rather than bloodline or persons like Jews. But Masonry is a religion. It definitely is. There's no doubt about it. Hey, David, are we sharing this on all the what do you call it? Different pages on Facebook?
Yeah, did as many as I can. They might be fooling with the numbers again.
What? Yeah, because what happened? I mean, I'm just not seeing. I'm not seeing the evidence. So there's no more pages to share that to. David. All right. Okay. Hey, Cliff, can you have you been can you share it on some of your pages then too? Cliff. Anyway, we'll get back to that in a minute. I just, I want to make this as good as possible. I thank David and Clifford and others for clicking like and share. Please click like and please share. It's important information. I do have a love for God's creation, and I really am not confident about any other solutions other than what we're really talking about here. You hear in the background discussion of what we were saying. So this is kind of the schizophrenic actions of government. Basically, the setup is that Iran and Turkey want the United States out of Syria, and that Russia does as well. But we're told that all these individual nation states have differing national interests than the United States, and that we must do everything we can to oppose them. And now it seems like everything is just falling right into their laps as far as what they asked for. So Trump can never say anything good about Iran, but he's doing everything that he could to carry out their national interest by announcing suddenly that they're going to remove the troops or many of the troops from Syria. Does that make any sense? I mean, it's just kind of simple things. Like, I think it got to the point where nobody really knows anymore how to do anything right. Nobody can do anything right anymore. So these seemingly non sequiturs are just going through and nobody's asking any questions except for, oh, this guy just must be dumb. He's acting like he doesn't like Iran, but he's just playing right. Just dumb, bad decision, doesn't know what he's doing. Can't figure out that just because he's following Russia's order, is always they always got an excuse. Always have an excuse. So again, we're talking about join or die. Join or die. So, David, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Well, I mean, I got to ask because sometimes we don't want a bunch of dead air. So what are folks saying to you? What are you seeing out there that the DARPANet apparatus is putting out there as far as how they're obfuscating this information that's coming out about the economic collapse, how the obfuscation is going on the increase in violence around the country, especially when it comes to police violence, like police officers killing their family, raping retarded, developmentally disabled children, etc., etc. What is their excuse for not joining and continuing to serve the devil? Not joining, but also just serving the devil. I mean, are they oblivious to this, do you think? What is really going on in their mind?